hail wrapped. We're probably seeing quarter-size hail wrapping around this rotation that is moving towards the Jackson area right now. So as we take a look at the rotation, again, we're seeing the possible rotation moving right across Jackson as we speak. Notice it's a little broader than it was. Remember when I was showing it to you right over Highway 34, how those pixels were touching each other? It was very tight rotation. We're seeing a rotation that's a little broader now, so hopefully that's a sign of improvement. But again, it is fairly strong, and we can even look in here to see if we have any hints of debris. And we really don't. That's more than likely some hail. Well, no, that's not even. That's just inflow right there. And we're not really seeing much in the way of a large hail spike either. So this is tremendous heavy rain that is wrapped around maybe a little bit of hail on the backside. But very strong gusty winds likely with this storm as it's moving into Jackson. But again, we do have a tornado warning out now for the Jackson area. Wibbs, did we have any reports with this storm going into Jackson?
No reports yet. I haven't had anything even on social media either. So if you're watching us and you do have something to report, please do send that to me. You can direct message me on Facebook. I'm getting it, but I'm also in our chat room. And right now, not seeing anything in the way of even any hail reports. So that kind of in line with what you were saying, Grant, there. But of course, we're going to keep a close eye on it. Again, it's all moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So there is plenty of time if you are out ahead of this storm to still get into your safe area.
And we just had another tornado warning issue.
Yeah, that's that one in Advance.
So we'll go back to the Advance. So we've got 2 tornado warnings, and this is disturbing. Look what's happening back here. We've got more storms developing. So this, unfortunately, may be a very, very long night. But again, Laura and I are going to be here throughout the entire event. We're going to keep you safe. For the folks that are wondering what's going on, why are we on the air so long? Well, it's because there's a lot of people in harm's way right now, and we always do this. We always go on the air to keep the heartland safe when there is severe weather. And we have 2 tornado warnings now. One going into Jackson itself, and then another one near Advance. And I just saw Laura pull it up on hers, and yes, this is definitely a tight rotation. This thing has really tightened up. Were you looking at Storm Relative on that
Yes.
I just saw you pop up? So let me scope this.
Well, you can do either one. They're both showing very tight.
Yeah, that is, right there, just to the south of Advance. That is a very tight circulation. So let's zoom in. That's kind of like what we were seeing on Highway 34 west of Jackson just a minute ago when we kind of said get in your basement in the Jackson area. So Advance, you need to be getting in your safe spot. So we've got a possible tornado that is moving through Advance right now. It's going to move kind of right along State Highway O. It'll be near State Highway O and State Highway P, and that is in parts of Stoddard County, the northern parts of Stoddard County. Again, if you live in these areas, you need to be in your basement if you have one. I know there's a lot of areas that have flat land here that may not have a basement on their house. If you don't have the basement, that's why we say go to the lowest level of your home and get into that interior room. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. This is another possible tornado that is moving through Advance right now. You can see, boy, yeah, it is very tight. And this is getting a little closer to the radar site. So I'm going to scope it to the south of Advance, and let's just see. Again, this looks like it would be rain wrapped as well as it's about to cross Highway 25. A lot of rain, possibility of some hail. This storm does have a lot of hail in it. This storm has a lot of hail in it, unlike the one that's in Jackson. So there's going to be a lot of rain and hail, and this is likely wrapped in that rain and hail based on what we're seeing. So we have 2 tornado warnings we're tracking, one in Stoddard County, one in Cape Girardeau County. You can see the Stoddard County storm is going to be moving towards right along State Highway O, and it goes into Scott County to Oran. So from Oran west, you need to be thinking about getting in your safe. They don't even be thinking about it. Get in your safe spot. Again, that basement if you have it, lowest floor of your home in a center interior room if you don't. I'm going to pan up to the Jackson area and see how that storm is acting right now, because this one was showing pretty strong signs of rotation earlier, but it was kind of strange because there wasn't a big hail indication on the storm. It's just real heavy rain and wind with it, and we're still seeing the possibility of a tornado right here. It looks like it's moving to the it kind of keeps varying where that circulation shows up, but it's on the north side of Jackson. That's pretty much right over Rotary Park right now. So if you know where Rotary Park is in Jackson, that's where we're seeing a possible tornado. And it looked like it was possibly developing near the old Bullinger Mill, and it continues to move off to the east. And if this track continues, the majority of Cape Girardeau would be missed, but it's still a good idea if you're on the north side of Cape Girardeau to be in your safe side. If I was north of Kings Highway, if I was north of Broadway, if I lived in Cape Girardeau north of Broadway, if I lived in Cape Girardeau north of the Kings Highway, I'd be in my basement right now. And we could see more development to the south, but right now for the folks over towards Dalhousie or Menards, that area, it does not look all that impressive tornado-wise. If you live near the casino in Cape Girardeau, this is headed your way. If you live near the casino, you need to be thinking about getting in your safe spot. It's it'll go just to the north of the casino, and more than likely it'll stay just to the north of Lexington. But it's going to be a very, very close call when we look at that. And we see here's the rotation. It's kind of moving in this general area like this. So it's moving along the north side of Jackson, and it'll move along the north side of Cape Girardeau as well. And again, if you guys are getting any reports, seeing any damage, we don't want you going outside. But if the storm has passed and you have damage to report, hail to report, please send Laura go to her Facebook page, get her a private message, anything to get that information to us so we can get the word out. It really, like you said, it helps us tell the story. It helps us know what's hitting the ground. It lets us know what the radar is telling us, if it's true, and what we can learn with the other storms as they develop throughout the night. So we would appreciate any reports that you can pass along. And with that, Laura, are you getting any new reports?
No reports right now. We've had, of course, several reports of hail. I'm looking through my inbox right now, many pictures of hail. Let me see if this will load and I can bring up some new information. But really just ping pong size ball and advance right now to get a good picture of that ping pong ball sized hail. A lot of reports of people's sirens going off, of course, tornado sirens.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are aware of that. So thank you for those reports too. But nothing on chat, nothing from train spotters at this time.
All right, well, we'll continue to monitor this closely. And again, we've got a tornado warning. Excuse me, I had to get a sip of water there. We've got a tornado warning now for the Advance area. Severe thunderstorm warning surrounding that. This cell that is north of Bloomfield is very intense. Not showing any rotation, at least as of yet, but it looks like it could be producing some pretty decent hail. At least it did just a little while ago. I'll try and take another look inside to get an idea of if we have any hail spikes with this. And boy, yes, we do. There's that hail spike. So we could probably be seeing at least quarter-size hail with that storm. There's the hail spike. That was the ping pong ball hail that Laura was just telling you about in Advance. So that is located right there now. It is crossing into Scott County, and the actual rotation from this storm looked to have weakened just a bit. It was very impressive for just a minute, and it has broadened significantly. It's still there. It's right near the Bell City area. So in Bell City, just to the north side of Bell City is where we're seeing that possible rotation moving out of Stoddard County and moving into Scott County with that tornado warning. So I'm going to go back to the north with Jackson. Again, Jackson, we gave you your first alert of this storm a while ago before the warnings were issued, as we were worried about it. And you can see that as we take a look at that storm is moving off to the east-southeast. And this is where we were seeing the rotation earlier. I'm going to zoom in a little more so I can take a look at the storm itself to see if we can see that rotation. And it would be crossing Interstate 55 here pretty soon. The way it looks on radar, at least, it looks like that rotation would be moving through the Jackson area. And the strongest rotation is right in that general area. It has weakened a good deal, at least on this, from what I can see. So that's some good news. I don't know if you're seeing it on another site or another vantage point, but from what I'm seeing, it looks like the rotation in well, no, let me pan back down. Hang on a second. We've got a pretty tight couplet, I think, right here. it's there, but it's not as intense as it was. But we still could be seeing a possible tornado on the north side of Jackson. It has now moved east of Rotary Park. It's moving towards, let's see, this is exit, I think this is exit 102, and that's exit 105. So it's going to be going between exit 105 and 102 right now as it moves off to the east-southeast. Very strong gusty winds likely moving through the Jackson area, moving right along the Kings Highway as it heads towards exit 99. But the rotation appears to be off to the north just a bit, and it also appears to have weakened just a bit as well. So there's some good news. We're still seeing it, so we could still be talking about a possible tornado, but it's not as impressive, and it just updated again, and it's a little broader. As you can see, we've got that red going away from the radar, green going towards the radar. That is our rotation right here, and that's where the possible tornado could form. It has crossed Interstate 55 now. It has basically crossed Interstate 55 just to the north of exit 102 as we head towards the east. And again, this is headed towards State Highway W, so if you live near State Highway W on the north side of Cape Girardeau, this goes in towards Perryville Road as well. You definitely want to be getting in your safe spot, getting in that basement if you have it. Put as many walls between you and the outside. If you don't have it, we want to make sure we're on that lowest level of your home in that interior room. Lots of heavy rain. We're seeing thunder and lightning. Yes. All right, so this is what we're seeing right here. Put MoDOT behind me real quick. So this is the MoDOT camera. That's the exit 99 that we're talking about, where they're doing the center junction. You can see lightning flashing. It's extremely heavy rainfall. Looks like the traffic's moving. Looks like the traffic is very, very slow, and I wouldn't advise driving in this at all. You're not going to be able to see very far with the reduced visibilities, and you're likely seeing still some pea-sized hail, even though this wasn't showing a big hail core. You could still possibly be seeing some pea-sized hail along with very heavy rainfall and very strong gusty winds. As we take a look at 61 in Jackson, some pea-sized hail. So we are seeing some, at the EMA office? So we're seeing some pea-sized hail mixed in with this rain. Again, there's not a very large hail core. This is not as impressive in height as the other storms have been that have been producing the very large hail. This storm is a lot shallower, but it was very impressive briefly there with rotation. But that trend, at least for the time being, seems to be improving. So let's back things out and get you caught up, folks that are just tuning in to watch, whether it's your favorite programming you want to tune into. And of course, you know the deal. Whenever we have severe weather that could impact anybody in the heartland, we will continue to stay with it until we feel that the risk of life loss is gone. So we're staying with this until basically the tornado threat has ended, or on radar it looks like it has ended. Because again, we thought that we were seeing a tornado earlier, and then the tornado warning was issued. Now the tornado threat looks like it's diminishing with the storm headed towards Cape Girardeau. Also, the storm near Advance, it's moving towards west central Scott County right now. That looks as though that storm has weakened, at least the rotation, at least it did on the last outlook or the last update that I saw. But I'll take a look inside it real quick here. We'll see if we see any rotation. It's really negligible right here. But the next storm we'll have to watch is this one near Bloomfield. We're not seeing any rotation with it. But it has got southeast winds flowing into it, a very favorable environment. So we'll monitor that for you as well. I want to pan down to the storm that's in Ripley County. We've been talking about Ripley County, but we don't have a new warning out on this just yet. It was severe earlier, and it's pretty intense. At least it looks that way south of Doniphan. We're seeing another cell pop up south of Poplar Bluff. So if you're hearing thunder around the Poplar Bluff area, I want to assure you right now, and you are hearing thunder, that is not severe. So we don't have anything to worry about with this storm coming into Poplar Bluff right now. This storm south of Doniphan, right now, it doesn't have a warning out on it, but it is a little bit on the intense side. So we're going to zoom in and just scope it and take a look at it and make sure that everything is okay with this storm. So let's kind of change sources here. There we go. Now we're going to zoom in and take a look at the storm just south of Doniphan and see what's going on with it. See if we have any winds we need to be concerned with or any hail. Right now, this earlier was a severe storm to the east of Gatewood, and I'm not really seeing anything that looks like a tornado would develop in there, so there's good news. Let's see if there's any hail spikes with it. Wouldn't surprise, yeah, there's a hail spike right there. So we're probably seeing dime-sized hail with this storm just south of Doniphan. So if it gets more intense, we could see a severe thunderstorm warning issued later. But again, our main concern, we've got 2 storms right now with tornado warnings out on them. We've got one storm that is moving towards the northern parts of Cape Girardeau. We got another storm that is moving into the Scott County area. Both storms have shown weakening signs when it comes to the rotation, but they're still showing rotation that we need to be concerned with. So that's why we're going to be staying with this for just a little bit longer. Hopefully we can get a break here in a second and we can do away with the tornado threat for at least a little while this evening, so Laura and I can catch our breath and kind of reanalyze the atmosphere and see what we can expect through the late evening hours. Again, it's 8:30 right now. We're tracking severe weather across the heartland. We've got 2 tornado warnings right now, one moving through Cape Girardeau County, one moving into Scott County. We have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings. And this storm right here, you can see this boundary. It looks like we have 2 boundaries moving to the north. And this one is kind of riding one of the boundaries. So whenever a storm locks onto a boundary, you got to be concerned with it for the possibility of a quick spin-up type tornado. And this storm is now moving, and this one seems to be moving a little faster than the other storms have been moving. Did they track the speed on the storm moving through Jackson and Cape Girardeau, Laura?
That one is east at 40.
Yeah, I was about to say, it looks like it's...
Sorry. That was a Kentucky one. Let me roll back here a little bit.
Okay, yeah, numerous warnings to be looking at. And as you can see, while she's doing that, this is turning into a strong gusty wind threat. We can see outflow winds dominating right here. This is a strong gust front. I really don't see any tornado threat right now with this storm as it's moving into the eastern parts of Cape Girardeau County. With that said, you still could get some trees knocked off. You still could get some shingles taken off the roof with the strong winds. And just because you get wind damage doesn't mean it was from a tornado. Strong gusty winds can do the same amount of damage as a tornado. 100
east at 30.
East at 30. Okay, so about 10 miles faster than 10 miles per hour faster than the others have been. So what I'm saying is, if you get 80 mile per hour winds or 100 mile per hour winds from a thunderstorm, it's the same as if it was 80 or 100 mile per hour winds from a tornado. They do the same damage. It's just one was swirling and one was going straight. So we very well could see some tree damage and some power outages as this storm gusts out, what it looks like between like State Highway Y and then down towards Lexington and northern Cape Girardeau. So in this general area, expect some very strong gusty winds. I know there's some new housing developments along Highway 177. Again, we're not seeing strong rotation. What we're seeing is strong gusty winds headed your way right now. I will pan down to the south while I got the wind damage, or not the wind damage, but the wind radar, so we can kind of look and see what the rotation looks like near Oran. It is still there. It's not overly impressive, but we are seeing the possibility of weak rotation, and we still could be talking about a tornado. So as long as we have the tornado warning and the rotation showing up in the atmosphere that we have, we're going to stay with this to help keep you safe. But again, we are seeing the possibility of very heavy rain, small hail, and gusty winds with this storm moving through eastern Cape Girardeau County. We're seeing the possibility of large hail, heavy rain, and a possible tornado with this storm moving into west central Scott County. And we have another storm that we are watching over Highway 25 between Advance and Bloomfield. This one is likely producing some hail as well. We'll take a look inside of it to see if we have anything to be concerned with tornado-wise.
And Grant, while you do that, I do have a storm report from that area. This is 2 miles northeast of Puxico. Debris on some roads and trees down, mainly P Highway in the Arab area.
All right, so that was with that circulation near the P Highway?
Yes, near P Highway.
So we do have reports of some debris. So we may have had, and there was a very tight circulation that Laura and I were showing you with this storm right in that area.
Yeah, that's northern Stoddard County.
Yeah, northern Stoddard County. There's Highway O. Here's Highway P, and that rotation crossed right there. So yeah, we may have seen a little tornado that may have touched down and done some damage. We haven't heard of any injuries, thankfully, but again, there was very strong rotation right here on radar, and that would line up with the damage that Laura was just saying. So we may have had our first report of damage from a tornado this evening moving into the Scott County area right now. But again, the rotation itself has weakened. It's moving towards Oran. It's not completely gone, but if this did touch down, it could linger a little longer. This is the rotation right here, State Highway W. It's moving right towards Oran. So if you're in Oran or around Oran, it'd be a good idea to be in that basement if you have it. And again, if you don't have it, get to that lowest level of your home and get to that interior room, the bathroom or the closet, whichever room puts as many walls between you and the outside as possible. We'll pan back up to the north, take a look at our storm that's moving through Cape Girardeau County that also has a tornado warning to see if we have any more signs of rotation here. Right now we're still just looking at what appears to be strong gusty winds, and it looks like that was a very brief rotation, and looks like that's probably going to do it. I doubt we get this tornado warning extended based on what we're seeing on radar. We do have the possibility of damaging winds, and that's why you have the severe thunderstorm warning going out into parts of Alexander County and southeastern Union County. So tornado watch out for the counties that you see here in yellow, and that is until 11 o'clock. You can see the sporadic warnings right now across parts of southeast Missouri. So we are going to be dealing with this for the next few hours at least. We are watching more storms developing back behind this activity. Now, the good news is the surface air has been worked over pretty good by these storms. So I doubt we get a tornado threat with this activity, but we still could see a hail threat with this activity as it moves through the area. But our main issue right now is very strong gusty winds likely headed towards the Mississippi River right now, with that storm exiting Cape Girardeau County and moving into Alexander County and Union County. And the possibility of a tornado moving into Scott County, though, I think based on the radar that the tornado threat is fairly low with that right now based on what we've seen. Boy, that storm is still going. Look at that, Laura, over there in Kentucky.
Yeah.
This is the storm we started with early this afternoon that was right here, that moved into the Cairo area, and boy, it has been marching across the area.
Yeah, that one's the one that picked up speed earlier that I was saying it's moving 40 miles per hour now.
So it started, what time is it now? About 8:30, so it's been going for 4 hours at least, and it just continues to march on to the east. These storms have not lasted that long. They've kind of congealed, and when storms do that, they interfere with them, the energy. And we also have a flash flood warning that has been issued now.
Yeah, Grant, let me mention something about that flash flood warning really quickly. We talked about P Highway. Well, P Highway is impassable due to flooding, and that is in the Arab area. So I know we have a lot of warnings here, but this is the polygon, that bright green polygon. That is a flash flood warning, and it's still raining in that area. So water levels are probably rising very quickly, very dangerous to be traveling in this area right now. We haven't talked a lot about flash flooding. Of course, that was originally our concern, several days ago. But thankfully, much of the area has missed out on that. Not so lucky, though, right in this area. Again, there is a flash flood warning for this area, and that includes parts of Bollinger, Scott, Stoddard, and Wayne County. Officially, that goes until 2:30 a.m., but we'll have to keep a close eye to see if that actually expires before that. But again, P Highway impassable due to flooding in Arab.
And that's good information, Laura. So we got some very, very heavy rain. Again, a flash flood warnings out for eastern Wayne County, extreme southern Bollinger County, northern Stoddard County, and it goes all the way across Scott County to the Mississippi River due to the very, very heavy rain with this activity training across the same area. We had that last night. We had some training in this general area as well, where we had a narrow band of heavy rain, and this is adding to that as we head throughout the evening hours. So our tornado warning that was issued for the Jackson area. Again, if you're in Jackson, I mentioned go to your basement. Jackson, you can come out now. That storm has moved out of the area. It's still storming. You'll hear thunder and lightning, but the possible tornado is well off to your east. The possible tornado has, in my mind, kind of dissipated. We don't really see any signs of rotation, and I doubt this tornado warning will get extended based on what we see right now. We do see some strong gusty winds headed towards McClure. We're going to see right along Highway 3 up to 146 near Ware. We'll be seeing the possibility of some strong gusty winds, and strong gusty winds moving across Cape Girardeau as well. But the main concern you can see from the tower cams there, we've got an awful lot of lightning, very heavy rainfall, and of course we've had the possibility of some flooding in a few areas as well, where storms have trained over the same areas over the past few hours. We're going to zoom down towards Oran to see what that rotation is doing. And It is still there, but folks, it is very, very broad. I'm going to change sources here, and we're going to scope it so I can take in the storm's motion as well. And based on what I'm seeing now, there is the rotation, but it is weak. And you can see that. That is very, very weak. I do not think that the tornado warning will be extended with that as it continues to move off to the east. It does appear as though these cells that we were watching are trying to form a line. You see this right here? They're trying to form a line. And once they form a line, it becomes more of a strong gusty wind threat than a tornado threat. So we'll have to watch how that evolves over the next hour or so. Other storms we're watching south of Donovan, a pretty strong storm right here. And I want to kind of zoom in on that because it's all by itself. And there's nothing to steal its energy. And those are the kind of storms a lot of times we have to watch out for, that if it continues to develop. It also is taking on that familiar shape that I don't like. It looks like there's a little bit of rotation based on the way it's kind of kinking right here just to the south of Donovan. We'll take a look at the winds in that storm, and not showing anything that looks like it would be a huge concern. So there's some fantastic news, because we can use some good news when it comes to the weather. I'll change radar sources. And again, not a big sign of rotation, but I'm sure there's a little bit of rotation in that storm. So we'll have to monitor this as well. But right now, Donovan, the thunder and lightning and the heavy rain you're seeing, possible small hail. It's not severe, it's sub-severe. This storm in the southern side of Poplar Bluff, again, you're going to be hearing some thunder, seeing some lightning with it, as you can see right here, but it is not severe. I tell you this because we've been going all night talking about the severe weather, and people that are hearing thunder and seeing the lightning and heavy rain, they're probably wondering if they're in the clear. And you're not necessarily in the clear, but you're not getting severe weather at this time. So that is definitely some fantastic news for those folks. But I'm going to continue to monitor that storm closely near Donovan, because it would continue to move off to the east-southeast near Neelyville. And if it holds together, it would go near Campbell, just south of Malden in Dunkling County. So panning up, it's 8:41 right now, and we're still dealing with a couple of tornado warnings. I think we're probably going to see both these tornado warnings canceled here shortly, I would imagine. I'm going to kind of change sources here and see if I can get an idea of when they are set to expire. And you can see this goes out until 8:45, the one for Cape Girardeau County, so for about another 4 minutes. And you can see 52,000 people were impacted by that possible tornado, and it has improved the conditions anyway. We're not expecting that warning to get continued, at least right now. As we take a look at